Hey folks, I'm Rupali, your host, and welcome to my channel Crime Hack. We are listening to the story Mystery of the Catacombs Tunnels, and we have finished with episode 7. I would really love to know your thoughts so far, and please go crazy with your likes and comments because they motivate me a lot. And as you know, to hear the complete story, just subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. I publish a new episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so mark your calendars and let's dive right in. Nayak Brothers and the Mystery of the Catacombs Tunnels by Rupali Rajapadhyay Roti, Part 8. Aakash was beaten right after the Valentines, and his friends Raj and Sandy are investigating the case. Priya's name was mentioned by the attackers, so Raj and Sandy Nayak meet with her to find if she was behind it. Priya says that Deepak came to her with a rose sent by Aakash, but Aakash says that Deepak had a crush on her, not him, and probably he got scared and blurted Aakash's name in front of her. Deep in thoughts, the Nayak brothers get back to college for their sports practice, where Raj gets hurt when he twists his ankle. On their way home, Sandy spots a nail bed on the road and hits the brake to avoid a high-speed accident. And now, the very next instant, even before the boys could gather their wits, two people darted at them from both sides. While the boys looked at their rush wide-eyed, the men threw chili powder in their eyes, and oh, did it feel like hell. The burning sensation was so intense that for a moment they lost awareness of the whole world around them. Raj and Sandy clutched their faces and whimpered in agony. Thus blinded, they could barely feel rough hands grabbing them by their collars and pulling them off their bike. They were dragged behind the trees by the side of the road, and Raj drew attention because of the limp in his stride. Raj was made to sit on the ground with his hands forcibly torn off his face and held tightly behind the bark of a tree, while Sandy was made to stand in a similar fashion. For the first few minutes, the boys writhed and groaned with the chili powder still stinging their eyes, and they were unable to concentrate on what was being said to them. Their attackers waited patiently for this wave to subside. Soon, the boys' eyes started watering and the agony became bearable. When the groaning and moaning settled a bit, someone spoke up. "It hurts, does it?" Raj and Sandy stopped to listen. "Your foot, I mean," the man clarified, and Raj cringed with fear. Due to his twisted ankle, Raj had borrowed sandals from one of his teammates. It was easier for him to slip his foot in and out of the sandal with minimal pain. However, the sandal also provided a view of his discolored and swollen foot, and he felt vulnerable now that his attacker had noticed the injury. He immediately pulled his leg closer to his body in order to avoid the man from groping at it, but heard a sudden movement and stretched his leg again in an attempt to dodge the groping hand. "You think you can avoid the inevitable?" The man's voice hardened. Raj kicked his other foot in the air to put up a struggle, but felt strong hands preventing his attempts at defending himself. "Are you going to stop acting foolish? Or do you want to get punished?" The voice sounded ominous now. "Leave him alone!" Sandy cried in rage and was immediately punched in the stomach to silence. Furious, he threw both his feet in the air, trying to land a kick on whoever punched him, but didn't connect with anyone. However, the grip on his hands slackened a bit, and he realized that only one person held his hands behind the tree. So he increased his struggle, and the man behind him cried for help. To Sandy's dismay, he heard footsteps rushing from in front of him to join the one behind him, and together the men pulled his hands with all their might. Sandy screamed in pain and felt as if his hands would be ripped right out. Okay, you win," Sandy panted, and the pressure was slackened a bit. A vicious threat followed. "Another sound or movement from you, boy, and you won't be punished. He will be." The attention was back to Raj now. A pair of hands slowly and gently removed the sandal from Raj's sore leg, and he could feel the man enjoying his moment of dominance. "What do you want?" Raj asked, hoping to keep it objective, but his voice quavered when he spoke, and he bit his lip. "Do I smell fear?" The man fleered, and Raj remained silent. Amused, the man declared loudly, "The boy is scared." His companions laughed out loud. Then, without warning, Raj's somber foot was jerked and he let out a muffled scream. "Don't touch him!" Sandy roared again, but immediately bit his lip as he heard his brother cry out in pain again. "Told you to zip it, didn't I?" The man scoffed at Sandy. "You see, boys, your safety is completely in your own hands. Act as good kids and you will be freed without any harm done." Then turning his attention back to Raj, he asked in a harsh, subdued voice, "Why did you talk to Priya today?" In spite of the excruciating pain, Raj produced a mocking smile. "All this over just a girl?" he challenged, and the hand firmed its grip on his foot. Okay, just tell us what you want, will you?" Raj almost shouted his protest. "You didn't answer my question." The voice was annoyingly calm. We are friends, so we were just talking about college," Raj replied in equivocation. "Lies." The man sounded disappointed. Then, out of the blue, Raj received a slap across his face as the man shouted, "Did I tell you how I hate lies?" Raj became silent, unable to decide what to say. The man spoke again. "This is what I don't like about kids your age. I'm trying to be nice here, and you are drawing all the punishments onto yourself, and then you will blame me for being the villain. Why can't you just be a good kid and comply? And this will all be over before you know it." "Fair enough," Raj thought, and then confessed. "I wanted to find out whether Priya was involved in the beat-up of Aakash." "Ha! A wannabe detective," the man cut in scornfully. Drawing too close for comfort, he almost spoke in Raj's ear. "Do you know it's a thankless job? The worst life a man could ask for? Huh?" Then raising his voice a little, he addressed both Raj and Sandy. "You think Aakash or his family is going to be thankful to you for solving this case for them? What if I threaten his brother and tell him to stop you from meddling in our business? Beat him up as well. Do you think they will be thankful to you then?" Raj gulped, and the man caught it. "I see you agree with me." He patted Raj's cheek. "So they are out of the picture now. You are not doing this for them. Now let's see. What will you have achieved out of it? Suppose I was a real villain, a nasty one at that. I could harm you, torture you, kill you." He paused melodramatically. "Will you be able to help it?" He jerked Raj's foot again, and Raj screamed in pain. "Tell me," the man demanded jeeringly. "Can you do anything about it?" He squeezed the foot again, and Raj was almost reduced to tears. The man mocked. "You are just kids, so start behaving like one. Just focus on your studies and leave her alone. What will you do?" Raj's head was spinning. The confusion was further accentuated with the maddening pain, so he didn't speak. The man twisted the thumb of his sore leg this time and made his point again. "Leave her alone and drop the investigation. What will you do again?" "Stop, please." This had been an especially painful one, and Raj tried desperately to pull his leg out of the man's grip. This hurt, did it? But I guess not enough to sink the message in. The man twisted Raj's hurting thumb again. "Say it," he shouted. Raj could barely speak now. Nevertheless, he repeated the message. "Leave her alone and drop the investigation." Aha! You finally get the message. The man patted Raj's shoulder. Say that again. Leave her alone and drop the investigation. Good. I hope I don't have to take your class again. And he paused to watch the boys' reactions. Raj looked in no shape to fight back, while Sandy looked equally helpless, despite his rage over his brother's suffering. The man stood up, the boys heard fingers snapping, and they were released the very next instant. Sandy waited only till he heard retreating footsteps and dived into action even before the men's voices subsided.